KGVO Missoula Sports Talk tonight and streaming online at Newstalk, KGVO.com.
Good evening, one and all. Sports Talk tonight with Gerns and Bedard live from the KGVO studios. And you know what, Denny? I don't know that I've ever been as excited for a show as I am. Maybe when Shannon Kate's in the studio, but we have the new. Well, first of all, we have Sports Information Director Eric Tabor.
Yeah, I forgot to tell him that it's actually a 3-hour show tonight. My bad. We're not gonna let him go.
But to his right and to your left is our new old 37th head coach of the Montana Grizzlies, Mr. Bobby Hauck. Welcome to the studio, Coach.
Good to see you, fellas. It's always interesting to come into a radio studio, and then all of a sudden it's you see a couple of old friends rather than a couple of guys to talk with.
Right,
so
you've been gone a few years. You come back and go, my God, those guys got a rate.
They still let you guys on the air?
Yeah. What makes it worse is we have a 90-minute pregame before the football broadcast, and we have about 45 minutes after the broadcast. So
do I have to participate in that too?
Well, we'd like you to,
right.
but
Sometimes
we'll figure that out.
Sometimes I have a little too much fun during the game, and those 45 minutes is quicker for Gerns.
I am so glad to hear that hasn't changed. Just very pleased to see some things remain the same.
Yep.
Hey, Sports Talk tonight, we are streaming worldwide on Newstalk, KGVO.com, on the AM dial 1290, over on the FM side 98.3. Follow us on Twitter at Sports Talk Back. Podcast online at NewstalkKGVO.com. Our phone number, of course, 406-721-1290. Call us if you have a question. Not for us, probably, but for maybe head coach Hauck. And you've been able to catch your breath at all.
You know, it's been pretty interesting. This December was wild, trying to work 2 jobs. You know, it was one of those deals where you need 30 hours in a day, and obviously you can't get that, so you sacrifice some sleep and put more age lines and wrinkles around the eyes and all gray hair and all that. But made it through that. Got a good early signing class in the boat, and coached the bowl game with San Diego State. So fulfilled that obligation. Got a little TV time and did some of that stuff, which was good for us here at Montana as well. And then getting back here right after the bowl game to Missoula, things have been pretty crazy. It's just been overwhelming a little bit. The people stopping in to say hi and the different people we get to go visit and recruiting and everything else. So it's been pretty fun, but pretty wild in terms of trying to fit things in.
This might be starting backwards, but San Diego State has had a pretty impressive run the last few years since you've been there. And I guess the first question I would ask of you about taking the job of Montana is, how was that presented to head coach Long?
You know, Rocky's a great guy, but he is old school, and we're old friends, and it was fun working for him, especially when you have a boss that you pretty much see eye to eye with on 99% everything you see eye to eye with. Guy makes it for a good working environment. So the 3-year stretch there, Denny, was great. It was the winningest in the history of San Diego State's football program. Yeah. So those were good times, and we had a lot of fun and all that. And so I called him and I said, hey, they're going to offer me this job and I'm going to take it when they do. And he said, okay. So he was kind of like, okay, straightforward. I'll talk to you when are you coming back? And I said, well, I'll be back Tuesday. How's that? And he's like, okay. I said, I'm going to go take the job. I'm going to have to go do a little recruiting. I'm going to have to spend 3 days trying to canvass the state of Montana as best I can and do all those things. So I got back and he's waiting for me at the office door and he comes into my office and he goes, all right, what's the deal? And I said, yeah, that's really a question for you. He goes, are you coaching the bowl game? And I said, well, that's kind of up to you as well. It's just, well, give us the best chance to win. Of course I want you to. And I said, well, then I'm in. That's great. He goes, you just want your bowl bonus. I said, no, I don't just want my bowl bonus. I want to coach the game. I said, frankly, I don't think contractually you're obligated to pay me my bowl bonus. And he said, well, we'll see how it goes. And so we returned a kick for a touchdown. It was good.
Let me interrupt you. Are you doing a really good Rocky Long impersonation?
Yeah, that's
because I don't know
pretty
that
much
I've ever heard it. I've seen you play a lot on TV, but I don't know that I ever heard him interviewed.
The grizzled veteran coach.
He is just the best. You guys would love him because there's no filter. He tells it like it is.
Yeah.
And is pretty hilarious. He's just awesome in a lot of respects, and he's ageless. He's a winner. He's tough. He's just really a football guy, and it was fun for me to be around him, especially coming out of being resigned at UNLV, going reassigned to the street. But it was good being back with Rocky and having a reaffirmation that everything you believe to be true in the world of football is actually does work.
You said good being back. What was your prior relationship with him?
Well, we were opponents, and on different sidelines over the years. I'd never worked with him, but spent a lot of time in league meetings and on opposite sidelines as defensive coaches over the years when our teams were playing each other. So, just getting reacquainted with him and being on his team of guys was fun.
Listen to Sports Talk Tonight with Gerns and Bedard. We have the new old head coach of the University of Montana Grizzlies, Bobby Hauck, in studio with us.
That doesn't sound right. The old head coach?
I didn't know
just
how to phrase
new.
it.
How about new?
Because you infer that I am old when you say the new old. It's like we got the new old dude that's coaching over there now. That's kind of nonsense.
The new head coach for the Montana Grizzlies.
There you go.
Bobby Hauck.
You're a young man. You're still living with your mom for crying
Exactly.
out loud.
I'm the 50-year-old just moved back in with his mother. That's a really great deal for her.
Quick story. Bobby Hauck was one of the first Montana Grizzlies I ever met. Here.
Seriously?
He was coaching here. On my recruiting trip, I believe we were at Coach Cavey's play. I don't think it was the Cave, but it was his house. We were watching Tim play in the Japan Bowl.
That's right.
And I remember a 6-foot-long Subway sandwich.
Caveman had stolen from a convenience store, probably. But
a couple different ones, and he pieced them together,
That's right. That was fun that night. Tim played well in the old Japan Bowl, too.
That was
fun.
1990.
1990.
Wow.
That's exactly right. Long time ago.
You bring up UNLV, and how was that experience down there?
Overall, it was great for a lot of reasons. We didn't win enough, and that's the downside to it. The first thing is people in Vegas were so good to me and to my family. I just can't even thank them enough. And it wasn't like we were winning all kinds. It wasn't like they were doing it because they just loved the record or something. They were just very kind, very gracious, generous to my family, even to the very end. So that was really rewarding. Going to a bowl game there for the first time in this millennium was pretty cool. When people ask me about it, I always say it was like Lindbergh crossing the Atlantic. It was pretty much uncharted territory. We weren't exactly sure the plane was going to make it, but we did do that. That was fun. And so there were some good things, too. A lot of really great dudes on our team that are now graduated adults in the professional world that still stay in touch and are good friends now. So there were a lot of good things. I just wish we would have won more.
Is it tough to recruit kids to UNLV?
It is. It's a unique place because of what Vegas is. It's tough to get them there. It's tough to convince parents that it's a good place for them, and then it's tough to keep everybody focused on the issue being football versus everything else that's going on in that town, which is not always conducive to being a great football player.
How much do facilities inhibit that? Because it's not on the campus, right? It's quite a ways from the
campus.
Yeah, the
stadium's 7 miles away. It's kind of out in the desert, out on the east end. We had nothing on campus from a facility standpoint either. I mean, it was it was a little haphazard. They're going to build a new building now coming up the next year, and it's about time. Try to give those guys a chance, give them some help. And our president Don Snyder, when I was going out the door, he called me and said, "Man, I've really enjoyed you, and you've shown us that we've got to do more to support football, or we might as well not have a team." And I was kind of like, "Well, thanks. That was a great party and get done. I appreciate it. Glad I could do something for you." But he's remained a good friend too, and so a lot of good relationships with people.
Well, maybe they can get their facilities up to par with the University of Montana.
Yeah, right now it's not even close.
Do you have to drive out to practice too?
No,
or can you practice there?
The practice. John Robinson, when he was the head coach there, one removed before me. got the practice facility built, and the practice fields themselves were beautiful. That practice complex was great.
Wow. Excellent. Well, hey, Denny, before we hit our first break, I think we've got a little trivia.
We do have a little bit of trivia, and it kind of goes back to your plan days. It'll be pretty exciting for you here, Gurns.
Got a long memory.
Yeah. All right. Our trivia winner, 721-1290, if you know the answer, gets a gift card for the Works Car Wash. Compliments of Happy Days Car Wash. You want the best car wash in town, you go to Happy Days on Brooks between Pizza Hut and Fairbridge Inn. They also got the dog wash over there. So we got the Works Car Wash. We have a $10 gift card to Fuddruckers, home of the world's greatest hamburgers, whatever you order off that menu. Once you tell them how you want it cooked and they call out your name and you pick it up, then you get to pile on the toppings yourself. You get to top it yourself at Fuddruckers, located on North Reserve. I'm also going to throw in a couple of reserve seat tickets to Lady Grizz basketball tonight. We did men's last Wednesday, so let's do Lady Grizz tonight. 2 reserve seat tickets to the Lady Grizz Northern Colorado game. That's coming up on Thursday, February 1st. If you know the answer, at 721-1290. All righty. Montana Grizzlies, under new head coach Bobby Hauck, will open the 2018 season at home September 1st against Northern Iowa. Series history, well, the Grizz are 5-0 against the Panthers. That includes a 23-20 playoff win in 1994. College Football Hall of Fame inductee Dave Dickinson threw for 436 yards and 2 touchdowns. Scott Guernsey caught 9 of those. Nice game there, Gurns.
Thank you, Denny.
Who caught 10, 1 for a touchdown? Was that A, Nathan Dolan, B, Mike Earhart, or C, Matt Wells? Grizz beat the Panthers in the playoffs in 94, and who caught 10 balls in that game, 1 for a touchdown? Was that A, Nathan Dolan, B, Mike Earhart, or C, Matt Wells? Win that treasure trove of prizes right now at 721-1290 there, Gurns.
Oh, I almost gave away the answer, but I'll give it away when we come back.
Didn't think you'd do that to me.
Oh, give us a call. We'll change your tax bracket. More with Coach Hauck when we come back on Sports Talk Tonight.
You got it, 721-1290.
/careers. Equal opportunity employer.
Now back to Missoula's Sports Talk Tonight on KGVO.
Missoula Sports.
Every second of every day.
We are back. Sports Talk Tonight brought to you in part by the Orange Street Food Farm, a locally owned and operated grocery store featuring the freshest fruits and vegetables, fresh meats, and a great beer and wine selection. By Grizzly Liquor, located downtown next to the Iron Horse, Big Sky, big selection, and online at grizzlyliquor.com. And by the Ranch Club, golf, dining, entertainment, events, and the incredible pool. Visit them online at ranchclub.com, located just off Mullen Road. We are. Hey, don't tell him I didn't know that, Denny. Denny's telling the secrets here on the phone. We have Coach Bobby Hauck, the new head coach of the Montana Grizzlies. We have assistant Mr. Eric Tabor, Sports Information Director, Communications Director. Eric Tabor, I can't even talk. Bobby, we were talking about kind of the whirlwind that was going on and everything, and a little UNLV stuff. And I'm going to get into some more questions just about some other coaches. But what's been the best thing so far about being back?
You know, I think getting reacquainted with everybody, Gurns, you know, like just even tonight being able to hang out with you and Denny and seeing all the old buddies, and just, you know, it's been really kind of smooth to be able to just jump back in, and it's like putting on an old pair of slippers or something. It's just comfortable, and you know, we get to work. There's not a feeling out process.
Sure.
It's just like, let's go. We know what to do. Let's go do it. And it's just been really neat, and you know, getting around the state and just how welcoming people have been, and how just the overwhelming support by folks around the state, whether it's phone calls or emails, and then people in general. It's like we were driving up here last week, and Stacy and I were there, and my son Robbie was behind us, and we pulled into Dillon at 7 a.m. for coffee, and we're in McDonald's in Dillon getting a cup of coffee, and all of a sudden it's a Grizzly rally, and Robbie's like, "Is this how it is everywhere?" I go, "That's the way it's been everywhere we've been." So it's been really, really cool. And
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, getting around the state and just seeing all the high school coaches, and most of them, or a lot of them, are old buddies, and just the reception in kids' homes and all that. It's been cool to get back, and it just fuels the passion, the fire for the place.
Cool. Denny, do we have ourselves a winner?
We sure do. Good friend of Sports Talk tonight. It's Bob Kelly. How are you this evening, Bob?
I'm doing well, thank you.
We hope you're enjoying our welcome back show with Bobby here on the radio tonight.
I am.
Hey, the Montana Grizzlies under new head coach Bobby Hauck open up the 2018 season at home September 1st against the Northern Iowa Panthers. Series history, Grizz are 5-0 against Northern Iowa, and that includes a 23-20 playoff win in '94. College Football Hall of Fame inductee Dave Dickinson threw for 436 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game. Scott Guernsey caught 9 of those. Who caught 10? 1 for a touchdown. Was that A, Nathan Dolan, B, Mike Earhart, or C, Matt Wells? What do you think, Bob?
Well, I'll say Earhart did a lot of nice tutoring.
Guernsey, you also had one of your punts go for 61 yards in that game.
Wow.
Must have caught a little tailwind or something.
Well, it was snowy. It was slick. It was kind of.
It wasn't any of that.
It was really we had grass back then, so it was like rock hard. So it just kind of skittered.
Yeah, Gurns had 9 for 104, and Shalon Baker had 8 for 145 and a touchdown. Mike Earhart, 10 catches for 110 yards. That's the answer we're looking for. And good job, Bob. I got your mailing address. We'll get your prize package mailed out to you, okay?
Good, thank you.
Thanks for calling in, Bob. We'll see you around.
Okay, guy.
Bob Kelly, our latest trivia winner there.
Hey, Gurns, how about I often forget that you punted the ball. How good would you have been in this rollout punt stuff we do these days?
Oh, you know what?
That would have been fun.
I probably would have fell on my butt trying to do it.
Hey, you'd have thought you could run for a first down every time and given some games away, but we'd have beat that out of you.
I ran 2 fake because I punted for 4 years. I ran 2 fakes.
Yeah.
The second one was against University of Oregon, and Billy Cockhill lined up as the up back, and they snapped it to me, and we went around and I threw him about a 5-yard pass that he took about 50 yards down the sideline.
I distinctly remember that. I was coaching at UCLA at the time, and it was in our film breakdown, and I was going, look at these idiots. They don't look at that little midget person with tech. They didn't even point him out. Number 8 sitting in there.
Scouting Oregon for the
Yeah, exactly. I go, I can't believe they didn't see that.
What a quarterback rating you must have.
That's right. Billy should have scored, and I would have had like a 157 or something like that. But the first time I tried it, I was a freshman, and we were down at Louisiana Tech, and it was in September, and it was just humid and hot, and it was just terrible.
That was the week vacation to Louisiana, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
I had 2 games down.
Yep, 2 games. And Todd Erickson was the up back, and I said, Rico, I'm going. He goes, okay, because he had to kind of try to block for me. And I get the ball and go around the edge, and I think I needed like 8 yards. I got about 1 yard positive, and all of a sudden somebody came across and ripped my helmet off. I twist my ankle. I fall down.
It was Coach Reed.
Yeah.
He was so mad at
I'm
you.
looking for my helmet, and about 40 yards down the field, some guy is jogging back with my helmet and gives it to me. The chin's, it's still buckled. It didn't even, it was so sweaty and muggy, and you watch the film, and the guy's arm or hand grabbed the helmet, and the helmet goes flying. And that was the last time I actually tried to run a fake punt.
The only good part of that trip, from my recollection, because I wasn't on it, but had a lot of people I know on it, was at least you didn't have to play LSU while you were down there.
Hey, we had our social down on Bourbon Street.
I heard
on a Wednesday.
Was it
productive?
Was it McNeese?
It was La Tech and then McNeese.
McNeese, back-to-back weeks, and you just stayed down there.
We practiced at LSU actually.
Oh, no kidding.
And that was we met Shaq. He was a sophomore on the basketball team. Made Lurch look like a little man.
Freakish how big that dude is.
Well, you see this black Explorer with the music pumping, and you don't see anybody driving. And all of a sudden he gets out. He's so far back that you can't even see him.
He's driving out of the back seat.
Unbelievable. But anyways, I digress a lot, as always.
That's what makes this fun.
That's right.
Bobby, can you talk a little bit about the progression of getting the job, how you got wind, and what the process was, and the conversations and any of that?
Yeah, it's funny. Just from the time it opened until the time I took it was not very there was an extended period, which is kind of, in my mind, the way you do business. So it was a good job by the administration over there, and starting with Kent Haslam. But, immediately when that happened, obviously, as you guys know, probably both of you were probably on the text line as well, but the phone would not quit ringing. The voicemail still fills up every time I try to clear it. I think my text messages got to 736 at one point, right there around taking the job. So when I was driving around the state, we cleared them, got back to everybody. And the emails, as I turned on my email account this week at U of M, there was over 2,000 emails. So people it's been awesome in that regard, but we're trying to get some work done too.
I was quite surprised that you sent me a text like 3 days later. I was expecking it to be like 2 weeks later.
I think my
I
reply
felt pretty
time
good.
Yeah, me too.
Shannon and I, it was Jess and I, then Shannon and I, then I think Chad and I, different stretches. I think in 3 days we put something like 2,400 miles on the car, getting around the state. So there was some windshield time to return some texts, and we were north of Great Falls, not quite to power, when I yelled, and Shan looked over like, "What's the matter?" And I go, I did it. I'm at 0. So we got through them all, and just appreciate everybody's thoughts.
Speaking of some of those coaches, Shan Schillinger, Justin Green, and Chad Germer, just touch briefly on those guys and what it means to still have them in the fold.
Well, it's great. Those are my guys, and it was great to be able to keep them on staff. And it's hard because I had 2 other guys on staff with Mike Farrader and Andrew Sell, who are just great football coaches and great guys, and I respect them and love them. But part of the process is when the university makes a change, we have to make change, and you can't just plug one guy into the chair and hope to charge forward. And that just kind of was, from a personal standpoint, was really difficult for me. But we managed that as well as we could, and being able to keep those 3 guys is terrific. Obviously, Chad and I go way back to even before you were here, and Shannon and Justin both played for me as well, and they're tremendous assets to not just the football program, but to our student athletes, to our university, and to our town. They're good people to have involved.
How important is it as and I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyways. How important is it as a head coach to know your assistants and to have faith and trust in them?
Well, I think that's imperative, if not more than that, Gerns. And you've got to have trust and loyalty, but those things go both ways. And your players and your assistant coaches have to be able to know that you're loyal to them and trust them as well. And we have that relationship. I've never hired guys that I don't know well and intimately. It's always been a good way of doing it in terms of how it's worked out, because really what happens is you hire guys that fit that bill, and then there's no ego. Everybody's just working towards a common goal. Nobody has any agenda other than the group trying to get wins on Saturdays in the fall, and then bring our guys out the back end as well-developed guys that are ready to go on and have success in life. So when you have that in the foxhole with you, then you don't worry. There's no nonsense. You don't worry about anything other than the task at hand, which is trying to develop young men and win football games.
How about I know you've been on the recruiting trail a lot, obviously, but how much time have you been able to spend with the players on the roster, the current Grizz?
Well, not a bunch, Denny. I saw them all before they went on break, and then they all kind of disperse and go home. And the break's long. At the semester system, it's long. But I've been in touch with a number of them. Certainly, they're trickling back into town, so I get to see a bunch of them. Guys will pop in. I'll see them in the weight room. They're getting in and start working out. But as the next week goes on, because we still don't start school, for another week. So they'll start trickling in this week, and we'll have a bunch of time with them.
Are they going to be ready for your winter conditioning there, Coach?
Well, we will. We get to see.
I need to drop about 40 pounds, so do you think I could?
Well, you know what it is. A lot of them don't, and I know there's a lot of discussion with the social media, they're all in touch, and either via text or Twitter or whatever, and they DM each other, and they're all trying to figure out what this is going to be. And what I've told them is, you'd probably do yourself a favor if you did a little work on the break and not sit around on the couch all eating and drinking and sleeping. You probably might want to get out and get moving a little bit. It'll be better for you in the long run. So we'll see who listened and who didn't, but they've all been warned. So we'll see how it goes.
They have been warned. And speaking of, how you do things, I harp on this too. I get into this mode like, we're back to Bobby Ball on the ground and pound. But that really wasn't the case when you were here before.
Yeah, we're pretty balanced.
Yeah, you were. And what kind of offense are you and OC Rosenbach going to bring to the table?
Well,
do you think?
There's a couple things. One, we can't be square peg round hole people. So we have to put our best 11 out there, and so we'll do that as best we can. There's certain things that Rosie and I, one of the reasons why we're together in Vegas, is that we kind of agree on how things ought to be. Tim's a really smart guy. I mean, he's just a really bright football coach, and he can coach anything, and he can get a lot of different personnel groups and different styles of play out there, even within one game plan. But we really want to strive for balance. We don't want to be lopsided run or pass, and that's over the 7-year span prior. I mean, that's what we were. When you look at the numbers, I don't have them off the top of my head. Eric might, but it was real balanced in terms of number of runs, yardage, so on and so forth. So we want to strive for balance. We want to be multiple, but basically we want to play to win, and we're not so concerned stylistically. We're more concerned about getting one more point than the other team when it comes down to the final gun.
Can you make me one promise?
Yeah, I probably can.
Will you please run a couple of quarterback sneaks from under center coming up this year, please?
It's so funny because we're all living in hotels or in our mother's basement, one or the other. But so we got really nowhere to go. So we're in the office this weekend watching the 2 championship games, both Saturday and Monday night, and that actually came up, and I'm ranting at Rosie. I'm going, why doesn't anybody run the quarterback sneak? How are they going to stop Alabama's guys from running a quarterback sneak for a yard?
Yeah, right?
So, even the ability to check it or power is what we came up with as far as short yardage run game. So
make them at least think about it,
Yeah, if they've got 3 guys between the guards, then we'll get to another play. But if they're going to play an even front, then let's run quarterback sneak.
Don't get me started.
Okay, just so you know, based on what I've learned in the last half hour, you really sounded a lot like Rocky Long right there. I don't know if you need to be concerned about that. Maybe this is not a fair question. If it is, you don't have to answer.
Denny. Well, if I don't like it, right, Denny, I'll say, what kind of question is that, Denny?
I would just like you to kind of, if you could, take a couple steps away from being the new head coach of the University of Montana and scout the 2017 Montana Grizzlies. What were your impressions? What do you like? What are some concerns?
I haven't watched that much of it, frankly. I mean, I watched some games this fall, more as a fan than anything else. Sure. There was some, and I'm an alum and fan and former head coach, so I actually watched when we play almost all night games in the Mountain West, unfortunately, which are just awful. Yeah. But
coach. There's not a coach in the world that likes them.
Everybody hates them. Every player hates them, but the TV guys like it. So, but I did get to watch some games because of that, and just get the stream of the TV coverage. So I got to watch it some, and the one thing I think that we need to maybe do a little bit better is just some consistency of performance and effort. I had some games where I thought we were terrific, and had some games where I didn't think we were as terrific as, and to come close or do what we did before. The one thing, just the simple consistency week in, week out of going out and performing. So there was never 2 back-to-back losses over a 7-year span. There was we played well every week. Now, sometimes if you play well, the other team's better, they're going to beat you, and you don't have your best game every week. That's impossible. But if you go play well week in, week out, we're going to have a chance to win a lot of games.
I like that.
Yeah.
Never back-to-back losses. That's a cool stat right there.
That's a
very cool stat.
I did not know that one either.
I didn't either.
Maybe back in those.
You knew that one, did you?
Back in those days, I was so angry.
Right.
Back in those days, I was so angry all the time. Maybe they were just so afraid to lose the next one. I don't know.
Hey, did you know the last time that the Grizz and Lady Grizz basketball team both started 2-0, Denny?
2015.
There you go. You remember the trivia. Inside joke.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to take another quick break. We come back more with Coach Hauck on Sports Talk Tonight.
Sports Talk Tonight, live from the KGVO studio.
Missoula Sports.
We're back. Sports Talk Tonight, Gurns and Medard, brought to you in part by Bell McCall Ford. Great selection of new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Bell McCall is your locally owned low-cost auto dealer for over 100 years in downtown Hamilton. By Granite Pharmacy, locally owned and operated pharmacy on South Avenue between Shopko and Big Sky High School. Find them at granitepharmacy.com. By The Peak, health and wellness with 3 premier facilities in Missoula and a dedicated staff to help you achieve and maintain your health and wellness goals. By Jerry Wessels Tire Center, locally owned West Shaw Tire Center provides the best tire value promise. Visit them online at jerrywesselstirecenter.com. And by CHS Mountain West Co-op, Western Montana source for Cenex fuel, feed, fertilizer, clothing, and tack for over 75 years. We've got new head coach for the Montana Grizzlies, Bobby Hauck.
Yes, and he's been living in Las Vegas and San Diego. He's a big city boy now. I just want to know, are you still going to listen to the captain's Friday and Saturday hunting and fishing shows? That's all I care about.
Well, if you'd show up, you'd know I was on in December.
Yeah.
The only day you're late.
I know. I took the Saturday off. I take about 2 Saturdays off a year from the Montana Outdoor Radio Show because Jennifer's Christmas party was that Friday night, and I'm up real late, but I still got about 7:30. I turn on the show 7:30. Almost over, half hour left. The first voice I hear on there is that Bobby?
What's that egghead doing on the captain show? Hey, I've been called a city kid since I was growing up in Big Timber because I lived in town. I was a city kid.
Oh, you were a townie. All right.
All the ranch kids. Oh, you're a city kid. So I'm used to being accused of that.
Well, I'm a coaster. All the Eastern Washington guys called me a coaster, and I was like at 2 hours from the coast.
Yeah, close enough, I guess.
Yeah, I don't guess.
My Montana standards.
Bobby, you were here for 7 years prior. Great success. In between some tough times for the University of Montana football team. A lot of undeserved stuff as far as I'm concerned. What's different this time around? How have, I guess, in the football in general and college football and athletics, how has it changed?
Well, college football continues to evolve. But intercollegiate athletics hasn't changed a ton. But you see some of the changes even from the time when you were there, which gets longer ago every year, obviously, but it still wasn't all that long ago. But just in terms of expectations, attention, but also the things that we're doing too, in terms of number of scholarships and facilities and the things we get to provide, academic support. All those things. So there's some really good things going on for Division I college athletes, and hopefully we can impart that to our guys that you ought to respect this and be thankful for it. The other thing is the amount of scrutiny, and some of it due to social media and some of those things is somewhat overwhelming. I mean, you can take a kid from wherever. You take a kid from Oakland or you take a kid from Valier, Montana, and we airlift them and we drop them into this program. They're not prepared for it. So we have to educate them on what this is, because there's no way they can be prepared for the amount of scrutiny they're going to be under. But it's still the greatest. Being a college football player is the greatest thing going. And when I ask guys how they're doing, they say, I'm living the dream. I go, you don't even know it. You are living the dream. You better realize it.
Yeah.
We try to emphasize that point to them every day.
You know, you brought up academics, and I know that is a top line item for you and your coaching staff, and you can see if you look at the salary breakdowns, and you know, coaches get bonuses for doing well, but a lot of your stuff is geared towards stuff in the classroom, and something I've never seen before. It's also kind of part of the assistant coach's stuff. And
it is.
I know that wasn't just administrative idea. That had to have been some of your idea as well.
Yeah, I think the optics of that are good because we get to talk about it, whether it's here on the radio or in recruits' homes. You know, parents eat that stuff up, and they should, rightly so. Last time we were here, at the end of it, our 5-year graduation rate was 90% with our team walking out the door, which is the only reason I bring it up is it'll probably never happen again. So we like to talk about it. But that was special. I mean, it was the highest in the department. When you look at the clientele versus some of the other sports, that was a remarkable accomplishment by our academic support staff, by our assistant coaches, and by the people on campus that support us, as well as the guys on our team. Were prioritizing getting a degree. And, you know, you see those guys now, they're in all walks. They're educators, they're optometrists, they're lawyers, we had pharmacy students, which some people think is impossible to do when you're playing, but we had guys do it. So I was really proud of that fact when we were here before.
You also, during your press conference when you were introduced as the coach, talking about spring ball and what a fan you are of spring ball. Players may not share your enthusiasm, but you really like it, and I thought your answer as to why was really interesting.
Well, you asked me to remember that, Denny. I was making it all up. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just saying. I love spring practice because it's the time where you get to go out and have hands-on time with the players. It's a time for improvement. You don't have to game plan. You're actually working on football skills, attitude, team building, toughness, all those things that make great football teams. And spring ball is the best time to work on that. Yeah. And, you know, we were talking off the air about Gurns, and we talked about people being hungry for what we want to get done here around the state. We have that in our locker rooms, too. Our kids are hungry for it. I can sense it. I can sense it by their attitude, what they're talking about offline. And so I think spring ball, from a player standpoint, we're going to have some eagerness, and it should be really fun to watch those guys go and watch them take to maybe a little bit of a new style. It should be
a pretty intense spring, because when you've got guys that have been there for 2 or 3 years, and they may have been a starter, or the senior graduated and now it's my turn. Well, now I've got some leftover coaches here, but I've got some new guys here that don't know what I can do or how good of a player I am. There's going to be some battling going on.
The every job's open mantra, which we really believe in, is there, certainly. And then it's a fresh start for some guys, too, that may have been buried. We don't care. And when Danny asked me about, I don't want to watch too much of last year's stuff, because I really don't want a huge preconceived notion.
Sure.
When we get back out there. I think that's fair to our guys. Now, our first rep of spring practice, we have to put 11 out there on both sides of the ball, so there will have to be a first group. But that can change within a practice or daily, if not, weekly throughout spring ball. So I'm excited about it. I can't wait to get going. I can't wait to get them back on campus and get them in the weight room, get this recruiting class signed, and then really get hands-on time with the winter conditioning and the spring ball. It'll be a great time, and it's something that, as you alluded to a minute ago, Denny, I really relish as a coach.
And how rewarding it must be for you. You've been away for 8 years, but talking about some of the Montana recruits and the reception that you got when you paid them a visit, it was, I think one of the kids in the Flathead is a perfect example of that.
Morris, the tight end.
I don't know, but he thought a superhero walked into his house.
Sorry, we couldn't pick up. Please leave a message. We'll get back.
Sorry about that.
Denny's answering. Denny lives here. It's his answering machine.
I'm supposed to be the phone screener, and I'm neglecting my duties there. Call back if you need to call back.
Go pick up that pizza, Denny, downstairs that you ordered. Be good. But, the reception in those kids' homes was great. And, as I mentioned earlier with Gurns, was being able to step back in and really it was like not missing a beat. I mean, it was fun sitting down with those people and saying, okay, give us your sons, and we'll give you back a educated young man that's ready for life. And everybody listened, and it was good to have those guys back in.
You know, when you got first hired, that many years ago, probably the dream come true, the dream job. Is it that way again? Is it kind of being reborn again?
Gerns, I'd say maybe more so this time around, because last time, even when I interviewed, it was Wayne Hogan was and Guff was there, and there's a group that I met with out in Seattle, and they said, well, what are your goals as a football coach? And I said, well, the first goal is to be the head coach at Montana, but I've got some things beyond that. I mean, we all want to coach in Rose Bowls and do those things, and for me to be able to come back, in terms of dream job, for me to be able to come back home, be with my people, be at my school, and then, not be worried about the rest of that is really a pretty cool deal. So maybe more so this time than at age 36.
Sure. Hey, Denny, we got a phone call over there?
Yeah, I think Bobby will like this, and I think I know which Doug this might be. Doug in Corvallis has a question for Coach Hauck. How are you, Doug?
We are going back in time again. I like it. I'm terrific. I just as Denny's over there grinning ear to ear, as am I, Doug. Thanks for calling in, man. This is just like the old days.
Well, yeah, I think the coaches show wouldn't be complete if I didn't call you and ask you a question.
That's exactly right.
Well, this isn't technically the coaches show, but close enough there, Doug.
Well, I know,
yeah.
But the first time I got a chance to talk to Bobby since he's back. Bob, welcome back. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, sir. As we were just talking about with Gerns, it's really been awesome for me to be back, and I'm enjoying every day.
So when are we going to know who's like the defensive coordinators and some more coaches and stuff like that?
Well, soon. My deal is we've pretty much got guys ready to be hired, but we're going through our human resources process. So that's the reason I'm not talking about it a little bit more. But as soon as we can get through that process and get everything done at the university, then we'll be able to talk about it.
Okay, just you don't have to tell me any names, but anybody we know?
Well, I think there's a lot of names on the staff that you'll recognize and know when it's all said and done. So, you're going to be pleased. You're going to be excited, and because I know I am.
All right. Thanks, Bob.
Hey, good to see you. I will see you soon. I'll be down that way as soon as I get the chance.
All right. Sounds good.
See you, buddy.
And at least Doug could not ask you if anybody was hurt.
The question that
he knows better.
The
he
question
knows better.
that always got answered.
Matter.
Yeah, he's all right. He might be all right. He might not. Yeah. It'd be good. We'll see. If he would have practiced a little bit today,
if he would have asked about me, you could have just said, Guernsey's always hurt. He's always. Hey, we're going to take one last break.
Yep.
More with Coach Hauck. We come back and a little steal.
You got it.
And then we'll be out of here. Danny, Sports Talk Tonight.
Now back to Missoula's Sports Talk Tonight on KGVO.
Missoula Sports.
Every second of every day.
We are back. Sports Talk Tonight with Gerns and Bedard, head coach of the Montana Grizzlies. Bobby Hauck in studio with us. Before we get back to Coach Hauck, we got a little bit of business there, Denny.
Well, we would still like to hear a Steel of the Week. That brought to you by True North Steel, Western Montana's industry leader in quality, manufactured, and fabricated steel products. Gerns, Steel of the Week.
You know what, Denny? Let's go to the national championship game won by Alabama 26-23 in overtime against the University of Georgia. Do you think those guys that do the lines in Vegas are smart? The line was 3.5.
Was it really?
And it was a 3-point ball game.
I did not even look.
Yours truly ignored it and just watched the game because I'm not good at that. I would have picked the wrong way, I'm sure. But anyways, if you didn't watch it, great game. Dominated in the first half by Georgia. Alabama puts in the freshman quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, who basically hadn't played all year. He goes in and basically steals the game.
That was amazing.
He goes 14 to 24, 166 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, 27 yards rushing. He had on a third down when he first got into the game, he broke like 3 tackles. Thought he was done. Gets the first down.
That was a huge play in that game.
I mean, just stole the game. And a guy, I don't want to say stole my heart, but Jalen Hurts, what a class act.
So too.
All through the game and in an interview afterwards, just a good kid. Felt sorry for him, the starting quarterback that had to take a back seat. But anyway, steal of the week, Tua T. I'll just call him Tua T from Alabama.
And that brought to you by True North Steel.
Stupid athlete of the week, Denny. Oh, boy. We have a stupid athlete, too. Same game. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Mekhi Brown, reserve linebacker from Alabama. You saw the play, kickoff return. Ends up punching a guy from the University of Georgia. Gets a 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty. Should have been kicked out of the game. Goes to the sideline. Coach Saban has a word for him. A few words for him, I'm sure. Some other coaches. He goes after an Alabama. It was the staff director of player personnel.
Is that who it was?
Yeah,
I knew it was not a player. I was aware of that.
And
but,
just lost his cool. Could have been a real game changer, but feel bad for the kid. But man, don't be so stupid next time, huh? That's my stupid athlete of the week.
Very good. Very good. Back to
usually it's LeVar Ball or Johnny Manziel.
There's a good chance that lad's stuff was out of his locker and in the hallway by the time he got home Tuesday.
I tell you what. Mm-hmm. And he went back into the game after that.
Yeah,
by the way,
made tackle.
Wow.
Jennifer has a couple questions for you. She one thing I know she'd like to know is one of her all-time favorite players. She's curious whether or not Justin Green could become a player coach.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah.
I wish.
As you always called him, the big back.
The big back,
Lex
man.
Hilliard was a big back, and Justin Green was the big back.
How about when we had, J.R. Waller was probably 200 pounds. He was the third one. I mean, when we were bringing those guys at people, it was fourth quarters were fun. People were tired of tackling those dudes.
Justin Green reminds me of O.J. Anderson.
Yeah, no, that's a load.
Yeah.
I mean, guys literally get tired of tackling guys like that. So we're kind of hopefully moving that direction again.
Yeah.
They're hard to find.
And it's not really, I guess, a question as much as an observation, Gurns, and Bobby's brother Tim, part of that number 37 legacy, but I don't believe that's been passed along yet for the 2018 season.
Now, is it going to be a coaching staff and the players are going to be all on the player?
Tucker Shy came in today. It's just ironic that you guys are bringing that up. So if you think it's breaking news, you're sadly mistaken. But Tucker came in today, and he and I have come up with a plan. But he's got the he's got the keys to the car, and he's going to present them at the appropriate time. So it's going to be, we're going to try to have some fun. As I've said all along, when people say, "Well, what are you going to do this time around?" I'm going to have fun. And this is a fun job. It's a fun place to work and live. And this 37 deal is part of that. And so Tucker and I are plotting and unmasking of the next 37 at some point to be named later.
We should not influence by saying our choices. We should keep.
No, you go ahead. You know how much I listen.
Henry.
What was that one?
Nothing.
Yes, it was.
Henry.
Oh, we're on the same. Look at us on the same page.
He's a good kid.
I thought you had a different one in mind. I had Josh Sandry in mind, and I thought you had somebody different.
I could change. I mean, it usually does.
Okay.
I haven't.
Yeah.
It's still early in the
there's
evening.
some good candidates.
Oh, yeah.
Tucker brought it up today. There's some good candidates.
Speaking of having fun, go ahead, Danny.
We have another Jennifer weighing in with Jesse Sims.
Oh, boy. Have you seen how big his arms are?
They're bigger than yours, Gurn.
Holy Lord.
I thought your feeling was it would be somebody like Sims because a lineman wasn't about to give that up to a safety or a corner.
Linemen get all the glory all the time.
Yeah, D linemen are not like O linemen, Denny. They're kind of glory hounds.
Yeah, I mean,
they
Mark
got some
Gastineau types.
Yeah, they got some poster boy to them. There's no doubt.
Speaking of having fun, how fun is it going to be on Saturdays in that stadium?
It's that's the best place to be in the state of Montana on 6 or 7 Saturdays of fall plus intended playoff games. Yeah. So let's get back to doing that too. But we this is going to be fun. We're going to go out there. It's going to be exciting. The tailgates are going to be raucous and fun, and that stadium's going to blow up every Saturday. And we're getting back, and we need our people. We need our home field advantage to be what it was in the days when I was here. That's my only point of reference. And we need our folks. We need them to be loud. We need to make that a big deal. And it's the place to be on Saturdays in the fall. The Grizzly football team's going to be fun and exciting to watch, and we're going to win games, and we're going to beat on people and be Montana tough. And just like the people over the other side of the rail up above that are cheering for us, who are of the same ilk that we are, we want those Saturdays to be special. So in order for that to be, we want people to be back. So season tickets are going fast. Let's get them, and let's get ready to go. Get your tailgate plan for the fall. Get your people lined up, and then Saturdays get there early, and it's the place to be.
Your thoughts on the Champion Center, the training facility?
It's just fantastic. And I can't tell you, and again, hearkening back to the last time here, we had nothing externally. The stadium is gorgeous, and as we said, it's the place to be. It's a fun place to watch a game. But in terms of where our players spent 95+% of their time was not even functional, let alone up to standard. And all of a sudden, at the stroke of a few pens and some concrete and then some great finish work, we are now at the top of the heap, and it's just beautiful. Our guys, it's in terms of meetings and locker rooms and a place to work out, it's second to none. And when I walked in, I just had to be honest. When I walked in there, I'd had a lot of buddies who were texting me pictures of it through the fall, both as it was coming up and the inside of it as it was finished. And I wasn't really sure what I was going to see, and I was just blown away. And Stacy and I are walking through it, and it's just almost speechless walking in there the first time. So very excited about that and very grateful to all the donors, specifically the Washington family, but all the donors that helped make that happen.
Come a long way since where Greg Sumberg and Dan Ingram's offices are, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. When the garage doors were open up, and we could get in there and throw some iron around. And yeah, it's just a great place. And our guys are not allergic to the weight room, and they're going to have a great off season in there.
Awesome. Danny?
Well, that was one fast hour, wasn't it?
Well, hour number 2 is about ready
Yeah.
to start.
You guys are awesome. It's so good being on with you fellas, I tell you.
Welcome back. So proud of you, and just thrilled to have you here. I'm glad you could come in.
Well, likewise, guys. I can't tell you. It just warms my heart to.
We'll bug
be
you
able to sit
again.
down.
We'll expect you to come in again.
I can't wait to do it again.
All right, deal.
All right.
Go Grizz.
Couldn't have been anybody else but you, Bobby.
I feel bad that we didn't get Mr. Tabor on the air.
I think he's having a good.
No one wants to talk to me. I guarantee it.
Hey, Lady Grizz tomorrow night?
Yes, they are
And
on
Saturday?
at 7 o'clock hosting Sacramento State.
Get out there, show your sport.
Yep, and the guys are on the road at Sacramento State. We'll have the guys on right here at KGVO. Gals will be on KMPT tomorrow night.
Denny, see you next week. We're
Thanks,
out of here.
Kurtz. All right.
Sports Talk Tonight.